Namaste to everyone from the Greater Atlanta Vedic Temple. Today is a special day wherein we are celebrating a couple of occasions. The topmost of that going to be the Hindu New Year, that is also called Nava Samvatsar, that is going to start from April 13th, 2021. That is also celebrated as Arya Samaj Foundation Day, the day Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati had founded the Arya Samaj in Mumbai, India. To mark this special occasion, today's services are being led by the Vedic Temple youth and the kids of the Vedic Sanskriti school. Some of them are going to be present in person here, and a lot of them will be online today. So with no further delay, we are to start this program, and we are requesting everyone to stay on mute and enjoy this program. If you have a question, please do send on the chat. I'm handing it over to the Vedic Temple youth to take this program forward. If someone can confirm on the chat if you can hear us. You have to mute yourselves.
Namaste, everyone. Namaste, everyone. We will recite Om 3 times, and then we will recite the Gayatri Mantra. So let us inhale. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you all for joining today at the Greater Atlanta Vedic Temple for Havan today. We'll be beginning. It's a very beautiful day outside, and so we appreciate everyone stopping in on Zoom. And we have a full program set with all the youth. And so we'll be beginning with Havan. And I believe Havishkrit just did the Gayatri Mantra. And so we can go ahead and begin. Atishwar Stuti Pratinopasna Mantraha. Om Vishwani Deva Savitar Duritani Parasuva Yadbhadram Tanna Asuva Om Hiranya Garbha Samavartatagre Bhutasya Jataha Patireka Asit Sadhadara Prithvim Dyamute Mam Kasmai Devaya Havisha Videma Om Ya Atmada Balada Yasya Vishwa Upasate Prashisham Yasya Devaha Yasya Chai Amritam Yasya Mrityuhu Kasmai Devaya Havisha Videma Om Yaha Pranato Nimishato Mahitvaika Idraja Jagato Babuva Ya Ishe Asya Dvipadashchatushpadaha Kasmai Devaya Havisha Videma Om Yena Dyorugra Prithvi Chadreda Yena Swahastabitam Yena Nakaha Yo Antarikshe Rajaso Vimana Kasmai Devaya Havisha Videma Om Prajapate Natvadeta Nyanyo Vishwajatani Parita Babhuva Yatkamaste Juhumastano Astu Vayam Shyama Patayorainam Om Sano Bandurjanita Savidata Dhamani Veda Bhuvanani Vishwa Yatra Deva Amritamana Shana Srithiye Dhaman Dhyairayanta Om Agnenaya Supatharaye Asman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvan Yuyodhyasmarjuhurana Meno Bhuishtante Nama Uktim Videma Itishwar Stuti Pratnopasna Prakarnam. And so we've just invoked the blessings of Ishwar God for this Havan. And the God that we're praying to is the three O's. So omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. So an all-knowing, all-pervading entity. And what we are trying to do with this Havan is use these mantras as a vehicle to connect with this God. Just like if you live in your room for a period of time, if you live in your house, it gets dirty. Sometimes just living in life, we can get a little disconnected from our source. And so what we're attempting to do is reconnect with the source of life and perform this Havan in which the fire will represent the light of knowledge and the light of truth. And so now we can begin with the Angasparsh mantra. So we're taking water in our right hand. And then sip the water. Om Amrito Pastadmasi Swaha. Om Amrita Pidanamasi Swaha. Om Satyam Yashaha Shrirmai Shri Shvetam Swaha. And now we'll be taking water in our left hand and we'll be touching each of our organs after each mantra. And we are representing, we're asking for strength in those organs and health, and also for purity. And we're asking, may that which comes into our bodies be pure. Om Vangma Aseyastu. Om Nasor me Prano Astu. Om Akshnor me Chakshurastu. Om Karnayor me Shrotramastu. Om Baor me Balamastu. Om Orvorma Ojoastu. Om Marishtani Mengani Tanustantva me Sahasantu. And now we will do the lighting of the fire, so the Deepa. Om Bhur Bhuvaswaha. Om Bhurбhuvah Swardyauриva Bhumna Prithviva Varimna Tasyaste Prithvi Devaya Jani Prishte Agni Manna Damanna Dhyayadade. Om Udbudya Swagnehe Pratijagrihi Tvamishta Purte Samsrijethamayam Cha Asmin Sadaste Adyuttarasmin Vishve Deva Yajamanashtra Sidata. And now we'll be offering sticks of wood. Om Ayanta Idma Atma Jata Vedastene Dhyasvar Vardyasvar Cheda Vardaya Chasman Prajaya Pashubhi Brahma Varchase Nana Dhyena Samedhaya Swaha. In the Magne Jataveda say Dhanna Mama. And for those at home, if you wish to join in, you can say Swaha at the end of each mantra, and that's where we'll be making the offering. Om Samidagnim Duvasyata Griter Bodhayatatitim Asmin Havya Juhotana Om Susamidaya Shochishe Kritam Tivram Juhotana Agnaye Jata Vedase Swaha. Idam Agnaye Jata Vedase Dannamama. Om Tantva Samid Bhirangiro Gritena Vardayamasi Prihachochaya Vishya Swaha. Magnay Angirase Dannamama. And now we'll be doing Panchkrit Ahuti. And before we say the mantra, I just want to read the English translation. So the mantra that we'll be saying, it means, omniscient God who knows all things, enlighten this soul who is in constant search of divine presence. Enlightening this soul will help others to be enlightened. Grace us with productive progeny, useful livestock, prosperous life, and spiritual knowledge, nourishing food and other beneficial substances. Whatever I offer belongs to omnipotent, merciful Creator God. Nothing is mine and nothing is for me. So now with ghee. Om Ayanta Idma Atma Jata Vedastene Dhyasvar Vardyasvar Cheda Vardaya Chasman Prajaya Parshubhe Brahma Varchase Nana Dhyena Samedhaya Swaha. In the Magne Jata Vedase Dannamama. Om Ayanta Idma Atma Jata Vedastene Dhyasvar Vardyasvar Cheda Vardaya Chasman Prajaya Pashubhe Brahma Varchase Nana Dhyena Samedhaya Swaha. Magne Jata Vedase Dannamama. Om Ayanta Idma Atma Jata Vedastene Dhyasvar Vardyasvar Cheda Vardaya Chasman Prajaya Pashubhe Brahma Varchase Nana Dhyena Samedhaya Swaha. Magne Jata Vedase Dannamama. Om Ayanta Idma Atma Jata Vedastene Dhyasvar Vardyasvar Cheda Vardaya Chasman Prajaya Parshubhe Brahma Varchase Snanadhyena samedhaya swaha. Magne jatvedase dannamama. And also, I just wanted to point out that today is an auspicious day. We're celebrating a couple different events. One of those is Arya Samaj Day, and the other one is the Vedic New Year, which happens in the springtime. And the other one is also Dr. Savita Auntie's birthday, who's been a big part of this temple, and she's now performing yajna as well. So hopefully we can keep all of those blessings in mind as we progress through the Havan. So now we'll do Jal Sinchana, so with the water. So we'll sprinkle in the east. Om Aditenu Manyaswa. Om Anumatenu Manyaswa. Om Saraswatya Manyaswa. Om Deva Savitaha Prasuvayajam Prasuvayajapatim Bhagaya Divyo Gandharvaha Ketapu Ketan Naha Punatu Vachaspatir Vacham Naha Swadatu. And now with just 1 spoon of ghee. Yeah. Om Agnaye Swaha. Idam Agnaye Dannamama. Om Somaya Swaha. Idam Somaya Idannamama. Om Prajapataye Swaha. Idam Prajapataye Idannamama. Om Indraya Swaha. Idam Indraya Idannamama. And now we'll be doing the offerings, so using samagri now. So, yeah. So the morning offerings. Om Suryo Jyotir Jyotihi Surya Swaha. Om Suryo Varcho Jyotir Varchaha Swaha. Om Jyotihi Suryaha Suryo Jyotihi Swaha. Om Sajur Devena Savitra Saju Rushashindra Vatya Jushana Suryo Vetu Swaha. Om evening offerings now. Om Agnir Jyotir Jyotir Agnihi Swaha. Om Agnir Varcho Jyotir Varchaha Swaha. Om Swaha. Om Sajur Devena Savitra Sajuratrindra Vatya Jushano Agnirvetu Swaha. Om Buragnaye Pranaya Swaha. Idamagnaye Pranaya Idannamama. Om Bhuvarvayave Panaya Swaha. Idam Vayave Panaya Idannamama. Om Sradityaya Vyanaya Swaha. Idamadityaya Vyanaya Idannamama. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaragni Vayavaditebhya प्राणपानव्यानेभ्यः स्वाहा इदमग्निवायवादितेभ्यः प्राणपानव्यानेभ्यः इदन्नमम ॐ आपो ज्योतिरसोमृतं ब्रह्मभूर्भुवः स्वरों स्वाहा ॐ यामेदां देवगणः पितरश्चोपासते तयामा मध्यमेदयाग्ने मेधाविनं कुरु स्वाहा ॐ विश्वानि देव सवितर्दुरितानि परासुव यद्भद्रं तन्न आसुव स्वाहा ॐ अग्नेनय सुपथाराये अस्मान् विश्वानि देव वयुनानि विद्वान् युयोद्यस्मर्जुहुरानमेनो भूयिष्ठान्ते नम उक्तिं विदेम स्वाहा. And now we'll be doing the Gayatri mantra. And so if anyone in the audience would like to offer samagri, you can come up and offer samagri now. Om bhur bhuvah swaha tatsaviturvarenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo nah prachodayat swaha. Om bhur bhuvah swaha tatsaviturvarenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo nah prachodayat swaha. Om bhur bhuvah swaha tatsaviturvarenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo nah prachodayat swaha. Now, I'd like to ask Kavishkrit to come perform some special mantras. As I said before, we have two different things we're celebrating. One of them is Dr. Savitanti's birthday, and so we are just saying some mantras to wish her a long and prosperous life ahead. And the other one is for the Vedic New Year. And so, Kavishkrit.
So we can begin with the mantras for Savitanti's birthday. We will pray for her long life and a healthy life and a happy life. So first we'll do Swaha Agnaye Idan Namama Om Varayave Swaha Brahmayave Idan Namama Om Svaradityaya Swaha Idamadityaya Idan Namama Om Bhurvuvah Swaragmivaya Vaditebhyah Swaha Idam Vaivadhyate Tannamama. Om Shatam Jiva Sharado Vardhamanah Shatam Hemantan Shatamu Vasantan Shatamindragni Savita Brihaspati Shatayusha Vishemam Punarduhu Swaha. For Samagri as well. Om Apehi Tvam Paribadha Ma Vibadha Vibadhatha Sugam Panthanam Me Kuru Yena Madhanamishyati Swaha. Om Tyayusham Jamadagnihi Kashyapasya Tyayusham Yadeveshu Tyayusham Tanno Astu Tyayusham Swaha. Om Tachakshurdeva Hitam Purasta Chukramucharat Pashyema Sharadaha Shatam Jivema Sharadaha Shatam शृणुयाम शरदः शतं प्रब्रवाम शरदः शतमदीनाः स्याम शरदः शतं भूयश्च शरदः शतात् स्वाहा. Now we will recite some special mantras for the Hindu New Year. This day we celebrate the beginning of creation, of this creation, the first sunrise. At the end of this, we will have some hymns of harmony to pray for the unity, the strength, and the togetherness of the Arya Samaj community. Om Ano Bhadraha Kratavo Yantu Vishvato Dabdhaso Aparita Sa Udhitaha Devano Yatha Sadamitridhe Asanna Prayuvo Rakshitaro Dive Dive Swaha. Om Samvatsarosi Parivatsarosi Davatsarosi Dvatsarosi Vatsarosi Ushasaste Kalpantam Ahoratraste Kalpantam Arthamasaste Kalpantam Masaste Kalpantam Ritavaste Kalpantam Samvatsaraste Kalpatam Pretya Etyaisam Chancha Prachasaraya Suparnachidasitaya devatayangirasvatruvah sida swaha. Om ute danim bhagavantah syamota prapitva utamatye ahnam utodita maghavant suryasya vayam devanam sumatau syama swaha. Now the Sangathan Suk to pray for harmony. Om Sam Samityuvase Vrishannagne Vishwanyarya Idaspade Samityase Sano Vasunya Bhara Swaha. Om Sangachatvam Samvadatvam Sambo Manansi Janatam Deva Bhagam Yatha Purve Sanjanana Upasate Swaha. Om Samano Mantraha Samitihi Samani Samanam Manaha Sahachittamesham Samanam mantramabhimantraye vaha samane navo avishajuhomi swaha. Om samani va akutihi samana hridayani vaha samanamastu vo mano yatha vaha susahasati swaha. Again, 4 key offerings. Om Puragnaye Swaha Idamagnaye Dannamama. Om Bhuvarvayave Swaha Idam Vayave Dannamama. Om Svaradityaya Swaha Idamadityaya Dannamama. Om Bhurbhuvah Svaragni Vaivadityebhyah Swaha Idam Agni Vaivadityebhyah Idam Namama. Johan Priya.
Now Sprishkrit Ahuti. So Om Yadasya Karmano Tyariricham Yatvanyu Namihakaram अग्निष्टत् स्विष्टकृत विद्यात् सर्वं स्विष्टं सुहूतं करोतु मे अग्नये स्विष्टकृते सुहूताहुते सर्वप्रायश्चित्ताहुतीनां कामानां समर्दयित्रे सर्वान्नः कामान् समर्थय स्वाहा इदमग्नये स्विष्टकृते इदन्न मम. Now the Prajapati mantra, so recite in your heart. Om Swaha Magnaye Idam Prajapati Idanna Mama. Purnahuti, so 3 times with ghee and samagri. Om Sarvam Vai Purnam Swaha. Om Sarvam Vai Purnam Swaha. Om Sarvam Vai Purnam Swaha. Now the Yajna prayer, and I would ask everyone to please sing. Yajna Rupa Prabho Hamare Bhava Ujjwal Kijiye Chhod deve chal kapat ko मानसिक बल दीजिए वेद की बोले रिचाए सत्य को धारण करे हर्ष में हो मग्न सारे शोक सागर से तरे अश्वमेधाधिकर छाये यज्ञ पर उपकार को धर्म मर्यादा चला कर लाभ दे संसार को नित्य श्रद्धा भक्ति से यज्ञादि हम करते रहे रोग पीड़ित विश्व के संताप सब हरते रहे भावना मिट जाए मन से पाप अत्याचार की कामनाएं पूर्ण होवे यज्ञ से नर नार की लाभकारी हो हवन हर जीवदारी के लिए वायु जल सर्वत्र हो शुभ गंध को धारण किए स्वार्थ भाव मिटे हमारा प्रेम पथ विस्तार हो इदम न मम का सार्थक प्रत्येक में व्यवहार हो प्रेम रस में मग्न होकर वंदना हम करे रहे नाथ करुणा रूप करुणा आपकी सब पर रहे पूजनीय प्रभु हमारे भाव उज्ज्वल कीजिए छोड़ देवे छल कपट को मानसिक बल दीजिए आत्मिक बल दीजिए सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve badrani pashyantu. Ma kashi dukha bhag bhave. Sab kar bhala karo Bhagavan. Sab par daya karo dayavan. Sab par kripa karo he mahan. सबका सब विधि हो कल्याण हे ईश सब सुखी हो कोई न हो दुखारी सब हो निरोग भगवन धन धान्य के बंधारी सब भद्र भाव देखे सन्मार्ग के पथिक हो दुखियान कोई होवे सृष्टि में प्राणधारी हे नाथ सब सुखी हो कोई न हो दुखारी त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धु च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव. So now we'd like to bless the yajman for the day. And so if everyone at home can lift up their right palm and face it outwards and repeat after me, and I'll be saying the English translation as well after. So, Om Satyah Santu Yajmanasya Kamaha. Omniscient God, by your grace, may this Yajman host who is in the company of saintly and devoted people be blessed to fulfill their wishes. Om Saflaha Santu Yajmanasya Kama. May the Yajman and host be successful in his or her endeavors. Om Purnaha Santu Yajmanasya Kama. May the Yajman and host complete his or her missions, and may they be blessed and have their wishes come true. Om Satyanaha Santyavishashiha. Om Shubham Bhavatu. Let this auspicious occasion be fruitful to the host. Om Swastihi. Om Swastihi. Om Swastihi. Vridastravaha Swastina Pusha Vishvavedaha Swastinakstarksho Arishtanemi Swastino Brihaspatir Dadatu Ishta Brahmanaspate Deva Yachena Bodhaya Ayo Pranam Prajam Pashum Kirtim Yajmanam Chavardaya Om Swasti Swastihi Om Swastihi Om Swastihi. So that concludes the Havan portion. And now I'd like to pass it off to Devika to continue with the youth program for the day.
Namaste, everyone. My name is Devika. Thank you all for joining us. So yesterday we celebrated Adya Samaj Foundation Day. And today is also a very special day because it is Hindu New Year. And so just a short introduction, Hindu New Year is a time when the universe was created, and it is marked by the blooming of the greenery we see all around us. And it is believed that Lord Brahma had started the creation of the universe in the Chaitra month. And that is the first month of the year where the sun transits in Aries. And this is a very auspicious month because we have the opportunity of enhancing the role of the sun into our lives. And this is really important because the sun signifies ambition as well as personal power, and we can improve all those by worshiping the sun. So, on that note, I wish everyone a happy Hindu New Year, and we will start today's program with a bhajan by Harishvart.
Namaste, everyone. ईश्वर तुम्हीं दया करो, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है, दुर्बलता दीनता हरो, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है, ईश्वर तुम्हीं दया करो, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है। माता तू ही पिता, बंधु तू ही सखा, माता तू ही पिता, बंधु तू ही सखा, तुम बिन ना कोई आसरा, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है, तुम बिन ना कोई आसरा, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है, ईश्वर तुम्हीं दया करो, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है। जग को बचाने वाला तू, दुख को मिटाने वाला तू, जग को बचाने वाला तू, दुख को मिटाने वाला तू, बिगड़ी बनाने वाला तू, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है, बिगड़ी बनाने वाला तू, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है, ईश्वर तुम्हीं दया करो, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है। तेरी दया को छोड़ कर कुछ भी नहीं हमें खबर, तेरी दया को छोड़ कर कुछ भी नहीं हमें खबर, जाएं तो जाएं हम किधर, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है, जाएं तो जाएं हम किधर, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है, ईश्वर तुम्हीं दया करो, तुम बिन हमारा कौन लगन तेरा मनन, भक्ति तेरी तेरा भजन। तेरी लगन तेरा मनन, भक्ति तेरी तेरा भजन। आए हैं हम तेरी शरण, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है। आए हैं हम तेरी शरण, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है। ईश्वर तुम ही दया करो, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है। पुत्र हैं हम सभी तेरे, तू है पिता परमात्मा। पुत्र हैं हम सभी तेरे, तू है पिता परमात्मा। श्रेष्ठ मार्ग पर चला, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है। श्रेष्ठ मार्ग पर चला, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है। ईश्वर तुम ही दया करो, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है। दुर्बलता दीनता हरो, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है। ईश्वर तुम ही दया करो, तुम बिन हमारा कौन है। Thank you.
Thank you, Havishkrit, for that beautiful bhajan. You never disappoint us. Next, we will have Vedic Sanskriti school students Anushrav and Richaksha speak on Arya Samaj and Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji.
Namaste ji. Respected scholars, fatherly and motherly delegates, and my friends. Today I will talk about the first duty of an Arya, become Arya himself. Today's topic revolves around three significant items such as who is an Arya, self and prime responsibilities. Hum sudharenge, jag sudharega. Scriptures have given the main importance to dharma. And what is dharma? जो वेदानुकूल है वह धर्म है. Whatever conduct in life is undertaken in accordance to Vedas is called dharma. When wealth is earned in accordance to dharma, and that wealth is utilized to fulfill desires by righteous means, then one can liberate self from the repeated cycles of birth and death. Nevertheless, Gita addresses this puzzle of life as Janami dharmam nachime pravritti, Janami dharmam nachime nivritti. I am aware of many things in dharma, but I cannot follow them. I also know a lot of unrighteous or dharmic things, but I cannot give them up. Rishis tell us by means of scriptures that acharah padmo dharma, meaning righteous conduct is dharma. For example, abstaining from stealing and serving our parents. Acharyas, as these gave us the knowledge to akin to devtas, waking up in morning before sunrise, undertaking daily hygienic needs, undertaking sandhya, havan, worship services, reading Vedic scriptures called swadhyaya, etc. The question is that all these are easy to be said on the podium, but are these executed in daily life? If not, then these good talks do not have any positive effect on others too. जीवन तब जीवन बनता है जब जीवन का आधार मिले। हम बच्चे पारिवारिक जीवन से सीखते हैं। जब घर में माता पिता दादा दादी नाना नानी इत्यादि घनिष्ठ संबंधियों का आचरण आर्यत्व के गुणों से परिपूर्ण हो, तभी तो बच्चों को आर्य बनाना संभव है। किसी भी बात को बोलने से पहले यदि हम उसको अपने अंदर धारण करने का निश्चय कर लें तो हम वास्तव में आर्य कहलाएंगे। मनस्येकं वचस्येकं कर्मण्येकं महात्मानां। यह संस्कृत वाक्य बताता है कि हम महात्मा तब बनते हैं जब हमारे मन, वचन और कर्म एक होते हैं, और यह आर्य होने का एक चिन्ह भी है। गीता में भी आचरण की बात कही है। यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनाः स यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते। अर्थात श्रेष्ठ आर्य मनुष्य जो आचरण करते हैं दूसरे लोग उसके पीछे चलते हैं। वेद has stated clearly, अविद्यया मृत्युम तीर्त्वा विद्यया मृतमश्नुते। उसने एक मंत्र में कहा, अन्यो अन्यम अभिहर्यत वत्सम जातमेवाज्ञा। जगत में अधिक से अधिक प्रेम का व्यवहार करो, प्राणी एक दूसरे को कष्ट न पहुंचाएं। हम दूसरों की उन्नति में अपनी उन्नति भी समझें। संगठन सूक्त हम आर्यों को कर्तव्य के रूप में बताए गए हैं। ओम संगच्छध्वं संवदध्वं संभो मनांसि जानताम। अर्थात हम साथ साथ मिलकर चलें, हमारी भाषा एक हो, हमारा मानसिक ज्ञान समान हो। Therefore, in order to make the world Arya, we first need to make ourselves Arya. We would need to study Ved and follow it in our life. We would need to commit to pious and truthful conduct ourselves first. We would need to respect our parents, teachers, and acharyas and treat them as devta. We would just not need to content with our progress. Rather, we would need to strive for the progress of society. Then we will wholeheartedly be able to propagate Vedic Dharma principles to others. Otherwise, our name will be Arya, but we will not be Aryas. And to end my today's topic, I will give the following words. बनो आर्य खुद और जहाँ को बना दो, जो कहते हो दुनिया को करके दिखा दो, जो कहते हो दुनिया को करके दिखा दो। कृणवन्तो विश्वमार्य।
Wow, thank you so much, Anushrava and Richeksha. That was so informative. I would have definitely not been able to do that at your age. But thank you. Great job, guys. Next, we will have another Vedic Sanskriti student, Mishan, speaking on Arya Samaj.
Okay. Dear friends and families, today we are celebrating Arya Samaj Foundation Day on this very special day. I want to tell you about the spiritual leader who started this reform movement of Arya Samaj, Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati. He was born on 12th February 1824 in the village of Tankara, and he died on 30th October 1883. His childhood name was Mool Shankar, and his father's name was Karsanji Tiwari. He was a tax collector by profession. As a child, Mool Shankar was very intelligent with a good memory, and was always curious to learn new things. He was a great debater who was very difficult to defeat. Mool Shankar's journey of enlightenment started with an event in his early age of 14 years. He was taught by his family and gurus that Lord Shiva is present in the idol, and he was not allowed to touch the idol. On the very occasion of Mahashivratri, Mool Shankar was very keen to have a sight of Lord Shiva, so he kept awake the whole night. But instead of seeing God, he saw mice eating the offerings on the Shiva's idol, and thought on the Shiva idol, and thought that, is this the God who rules the world? Why isn't he doing something about the mice? If God isn't here, then where I can find him? He was also terrified of the prospect of death and wanted to find out how to become immortal, and found out by several pundits that yoga helps doing so. Mool Shankar traveled all over the India in search of his answers and to satisfy his purpose for 15 years. He visited many temples and met many yogis from the peak of Himalayas all the way to the caves of Vindhyachal. He met many great teachers of the time, but none of them were able to satisfy his desire. During his travel, he went to Chandur, where he met Swami Parmanand, who gave him knowledge of sannyas and named him Swami Dayanand. After 15 years of journey, Dayanand went to Mathura. There he met a sannyasi named Swami Virjanand. Swami Virjanand's physical eyes cannot see, but his inner spiritual eyes were wide open. He became Dayanand's teacher, and under his guidance, Dayanand studied the scriptures, deeper meaning of Vedas and Vedic traditions for 2.5 years. Swami Virjanand was able to satisfy Dayanand's thirst of knowledge, and in favor, he asked him to spread the true knowledge of Vedas to the world. Then onwards, Rishi Dayanand's ambition was clear: no selfish motive, no doubts, and no fear. He was ready to spread the truth which he had learned so far from his journey and by his guru Swami Virjanand, and he decided to offer his whole life for this. For many years, Swami Dayanand preached the Vedic religions through speeches, debates, and writings. Dayanand taught the principle of karma and reincarnation. He emphasized the Vedic ideals of celibacy and devotion to God. He promoted equal rights for women and encouraged women's education, and he was against encouraged women's education, widow remarriage, and he was against child marriage. In 1875 in Bombay, Swami Dayanand established a permanent institute to carry out his work and organize his followers, the Arya Samaj, which was open for all the castes and religions. The word Arya means a noble Hindu being, one who is thoughtful and charitable, who thinks good thoughts and does good action. He or she is an Arya. The universal Arya Samaj is the gathering of such people. It also carries social works like hunger relief, ran orphanages, and widow homes. The Arya Samaj is very active not only in India but also in other parts of the world. Dayanand Saraswati was a universally respected figure and an American An American spiritualist, Andrew Jackson Davis, called Maharshi Dayanand the Son of God, admitting that he applied great effect in his spiritual beliefs and praised him for restoring the status of the nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mishan. That was very thorough and informative speech, and we hope to hear from you again. Next, we have Priyanka tuning in from New York, and she'll be speaking on the principles of Arya Samaj.
Namaste, everyone. I hope everyone is having a good Sunday. My name is Priyanka, and I'm going to be a third year at Cornell studying neuroscience on the pre-med track. And for those who don't know me, I once used to be a kid, just like everyone who talked, attending the Greater Atlanta Vedic Temple Sunday sessions. And I was always staring at the 10 principles on the wall because I couldn't understand the sermons in Hindi. But today, just reading up on some of the principles and values of Arya Samaj, I've seen how much these values given by Arya Samaj upbringing have influenced me and really, I think, made life in college and just high school and just life in general a lot easier. So while the kids who talked before me are definitely way more thorough and more informed, I'm just going to briefly touch on how a couple of the 10 principles have applied to my life here. So one of the most important 10 principles is that one must accept the truth and reject falsehood at all times. And why? It's because truth gives us happiness and falsehood will only give us grief, and we're programmed that way. So in my not so long life, I've experienced that too, and just learned whether like not lying to my parents or my friends or just people around me, how really it's just not needed. And how do you know what is true and what is false? Whatever it is, it shouldn't cause fear, shame, or guilt. And if something causes you pain, it should do the same to others, so you just shouldn't do it. So really, you should try to think of what your role model would do in a situation, and not just any role model, but someone you can really put to the test. So one example is Maharshi Dayanand or Sri Ram, or even someone you really respect in your community or your family, and try to follow what they would do and try not to act out of peer pressure. I generally try not to tell lies because it makes me tell another to cover it up, and then you don't even remember what lie you told in the first place. And it's just a total mess, and it's a lot easier to just speak the truth. And this is really part of one of the 5 yamas, which is satya, and I'll touch on that later. So now if you believe something is true or right, you have to behave or act accordingly and really learn to walk the talk and not just, say you're going to do something. And I think I've realized that in a lot of friend situations. I remember one time I had a group of friends who were suddenly deciding to talk bad about another girl, and I felt really uncomfortable in that situation. And it would have been easy for me to just join the crowd and, go along with what they were saying, but I realized that I was just feeling worse about myself and it wasn't fair to do that to her. So in that situation, I spoke up and said, it's probably not right to talk about someone like this who's never done anything wrong. And I think that made everyone realize, wow, it's so easy to get caught up in a group setting and to just follow what someone's going to say. So you really do need to walk the talk. And I'm really glad I did that. And it kind of showed me to stand up for myself and to also stand up for others. Another Arya Samaj principle I appreciate is never to be content with your own well-being, but to try to improve the well-being of others. So as a captain of a Kathak team here at Cornell, I realized how much it's important to be a team player. And, it's really not just about you. When you are in a group setting, you really should be working to the end goal to help everybody in the team and not just one person. And even when there was a freshman who was unsure about joining our team because of how teams like Bhangra or hip hop seemed more exciting, I showed her just how much of a great community we are and how it's really important to find that kind of setting on campus. And I just tried to make sure she felt comfortable because it really is not just about you. The third thing I realized is college does give you a lot of opportunities to interact with people of all backgrounds. And while you need to understand and respect them, it's also really important to stay true to your core values, or else you can lose yourself. So you want to be indifferent to people who gossip or talk bad about others, and really just make sure you learn the habits of those who are doing well and people that you really look up to. And throughout all this, I realized practicing yum niyam is very important to being happy. So the 5 yums are, the first one is ahimsa, which is like nonviolence and not causing harm, satya or truth, which I touched upon earlier, asteya, not to steal, aparigraha, which is don't covet, and brahmacharya, which is restraint. And that's really important at college because there's so much that's going on and you don't want to lose track of, your grades and your like academic career because there's like party culture, and just really to focus on what's important. And especially with food, I think the freshman 15 thing, at least for me, is really true. Make sure you keep a good diet, and when like everything's always around you, it's easy to just want to eat food all the time. And then among the niyams, I find 2 that are especially relevant, which is shach, which is cleanliness, and santosh, which is not comparing and being content. You'll see so many people and everyone seems to have their life together, but you just need to realize that everyone is going to be different and you have your own like unique talents and attributes that you can bring to the table, and always just be confident in yourself. And lastly, there's Ishwar Pranidhan. If you've done your best on whatever task it is, at that point you should just pray. For example, on a test, if you've really just studied your hardest or put in your best effort, afterward, it's not good to dwell on the past and just realize you did your best and hope on trying better the next time. So in short, I think for all the kids, you don't know how lucky you are to have this kind of grounding at Arya Samaj, especially Atlanta, and just try to internalize these values, and trust me, you'll have a good experience in school and college. And although it may seem like a lot now, it really does help you in the future, and don't lose sight of these. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka. That really opened my eyes and reminded me of some important values that we should practice. Next, we will have Buddy speak. She's ready. Buddy, you're still muted.
Okay. Priyanka, you did a really good job. So compared to what you just said, my talk is going to be pretty much exactly the same because you touched on what I said in my talk too. But namaste everyone, my name is Pari Gumber, and today I'm going to talk to you about leadership from a kid's perspective. So there are many qualities of a leader. However, to me, one of the most important qualities of a leader is being honest. And I'm going to be honest right now and tell you that every time I talk, I get a little bit nervous, but that's normal. And along with honesty comes accountability. So one time when I was little, maybe about 5 or 6 years old, I lied about something that I can't even remember anymore. And I did that to avoid getting in trouble. My parents and I had a conversation, and I learned that being responsible for your actions, telling the truth, and facing the consequences is a lot better than dealing with the guilt. And being accountable is not just a one-time thing. It's a day-to-day thing that we need to constantly practice. For example, I always try and engage my classmates and peers to be virtually present and be responsive. Because in Zoom breakout rooms, everything and everyone goes silent. I know that teachers are struggling because they have to balance teaching in-person students as well as virtual students. And while teachers do this, they show another leadership trait that is very important. It's equality. A true leader will treat each and every single person equally. For example, in one of my first cross-country races, I came last place in the entire race. So you can conclude that I'm not the most athletic person out there. However, I'm not trying to prove that. That's not the point. My coach cheered passionately for me when I finished the race. He didn't cheer less or more than my other teammates. And basically, he cheered for all of us equally. And you may have a question. It may be, what age should you be trained for leadership? So I believe that there's no certain age to be a leader or to have any leadership training. As I said before, it's a day-to-day learning. You may practice leadership and not even know it. It could be as simple as maintaining eye contact with someone, or it could be you being a positive role model for people all around you. And for me, it's my little brother. I could obviously be mean, boss him around, and tell him what to do, or I could lead by example and lead him in a direction where he makes positive choices. The thing about a leader is that sometimes being a role model means that you have to sacrifice some things to get a positive end result. Here's an example. Sometimes I really want to watch TV, but I know he will follow what I do. And I'm not saying TV is a bad thing, it's just we're talking about the limit. And I would rather lead him in a positive direction, like reading a book or playing outside, so we can be productive and make beneficial use of our time. Well, another question you may ask is, how should a leader communicate? Well, open and transparent communication is very important. And when I say that, I don't mean continuous talking. Listening and being polite is a major trait because they have to be very down to earth and respect everyone's opinions. And that brings us to a leader being humble and respectful to everyone. I respect my elders and everyone else around me because without them, I wouldn't be the person I am today. They have taught me to be confident and outgoing. I look up to them as my role models. And to me, respect goes both ways because I not only respect my elders, but also kids younger than me because I am a role model for them. And I have to guide them in the right path and help them make positive choices. Okay, wrapping up, in my view, a leader is honest and accountable, open-minded, and treats everyone fairly and equally, humble, respectful, and a good listener, and overall a level-headed person. And to me, these resemble the 10 traits or the 10 principles of Arya Samaj. So thank you.
Thank you, Putty. That was awesome. I love how you break it down, and I think I speak for everyone when it really helped about what you spoke about. So great job. Next, we will have Rohan speak.
Namaste, everyone. Hope everyone is enjoying the youth program. I think everyone's doing an amazing job. And we're actually a little ahead of schedule, so we have some extra time. So just to fill that time a little bit, Havishkrit and I will both be speaking. We didn't prepare anything, so we were just asked to speak, and I was wondering what I could talk about. And I wanted to just bring up some experiences I had earlier on this year when, well, it was actually last year, but I was working on the Vedic Temple Library with Sai Uncle. And it was a really cool experience because we were getting to see a lot of books that I would probably have never seen in my life. Really old books from India. You know, you would not find those in a library anywhere, maybe not even online. So it was very interesting. And one book that I found actually was on Maharishi Dayananda Saraswati's life. And I thought it was pretty important to bring up, especially because we already had a talk by one of the Vedic Sanskriti school students on Dayananda Saraswati's life. And I looked up this book later, and it's from like the 1800s, very old book. But it was interesting because it gave some more information and some more detail on his life. And it's obviously a very powerful life. And there were things about it that kind of opened my eyes a little bit more. So it went a little bit more into his childhood, and it talked about how in his childhood, of course, we know that he had all of these questions come up when he was during Shivratri and seeing these idols. You know, having all these questions, how can God allow these mice to come on these idols? But they also talk about how he had some pretty intense experiences as a kid where he lost his sister and she passed away from a sickness. And those things started really coming into his mind of all these questions about life and death. And he had some very close encounters. And I don't remember exactly, but I think his mother was very sick as well. And so even from a young age, he already had this intense thirst that he couldn't really get filled by the religion of the time, which was very much focused on like idol worship and, rituals. And they also went into the book how he actually had a lot of differences with his father. And his father, very much wanted him to be this devout kind of religious person, like other people at that time. And he had a lot of arguments because he didn't want to spend all of his time going to the temple and reciting and doing what everyone else was doing. And I think there was a specific story they brought up in the book of how one day he came home, and I think it was during Shivratri or some other festival where the men were supposed to be fasting, and he came home and his mom fed him some sweets. And he obviously really enjoyed that. And his father got so angry with him. He said, "You broke this fast. You should not have been eating sweets." And I'm sure that as a kid, he was probably wondering, what did I really do wrong? Why would God be so angry with me for eating sweets from my mother? And some of the other things the book went into was also his journey as he eventually left home, and he didn't really even tell his parents he was leaving home. He kind of just vacated the home one day because he knew he knew that as parents, they want to, keep him at home and they want him to just progress in that village life. But he just had so much this spiritual thirst and this like thirst for truth that it was enough that he was at a really young age and he just left his home. And they talked about how he had that period of time where he's just literally exploring India, looking for a teacher or looking for some kind of knowledge. And of course, sometimes we look back on that and we think it's a very idealistic thing of, you find some spiritual truth and then everything is blissful. But they talk about how he's walking through these jungles of India, and they say his body, he's completely cut up, he's bleeding, he's emaciated, he's starving. And, I go hiking and I carry like 40 pounds of food and water, and he has nothing. He has the clothes on his back. And that's how much he was willing to basically literally die in order to find God or the truth that he found. And of course, looking back on it, that's what makes his life so powerful. And I think one of the most important things of his life and the most important teachings is his moment of death. And I think many of us have heard this story, and it's still amazing that it's true that he died. He was basically assassinated. He was poisoned because he was speaking out so much against the society at the time that wanted to, keep people in darkness, and from everything from women's education to child marriage to the way that Hinduism was practiced. And he was just speaking out on so many things that people wanted to kill him, and he was poisoned. And we know the story that the person who poisoned him and gave it, I think they poisoned his milk, that person actually came and told him before he died, and after he had drank the poison, that I've just poisoned you, can you please forgive me? And we know that in his last moment of life, he actually forgives this person, and he gives him the money from his pocket, and he says, get out of here because you're going to be in trouble for doing this. Go get out of here. And that's just so powerful that his security in God was so strong that even at that very moment of death, he had so much reason to be angry. He had so much reason to hate the person who had just did this to him and who's taken away the rest of his life. And even at that very moment, he says, "It's okay, I forgive you." And I think that's one of the most powerful things of his life, and just so inspirational. And just a reflection of his wisdom and character that even at his last moment, he upheld that. And so those were just some things I wanted to share since we had a couple minutes. And now I'll ask Kavishka to go ahead and speak.
Thank you, Rohan Bhaiya, for that speech, for taking up some of the time, so I don't have to speak as long. We can both share that. So I was thinking about today in Havan, we chanted the hymns of harmony, Sangathan Sut, right? And I was thinking, we talk about being united, being harmonized. What if I just don't like someone? Mujhe banda achha nahi lagta. My dad's looking at me. I'm not talking about you, I promise. But let's say I just don't like someone, right? what do you do? So I remembered in my room, there's one of these, I don't know if you guys know, there's this calendar, and it every day it has a different phrase, an inspirational phrase. So I forget to turn the page. So I'm still on March right now for the pages. It says March the 3rd. So I've been staring at that same phrase for 1 month every day when I wake up. And that's actually a good thing, because what the phrase says is, for when everyone is around you, to be united, look at the similarities you have, not the differences. Focus on the similarities that you guys have in common and not the differences. Well, why is that? Well, let's think. Let's say you want to convince someone to do something, to go on your path, right? There's one person here, two paths. These paths cross right here, go like this. If I'm standing here and he's standing here, and I'm yelling at him to come to my side, there's this huge gap in the middle. He can't do anything. If we start right here where the paths cross, we can talk and go on one path. We started where the similarities are. So to stay united, I think the main thing is, like, a lot of people, this simple process of Agnihotra we just did, a lot of people do it in many different ways. Some people skip some mantras, some people pronounce it differently, some people just add random mantras in the middle. The order is different. Some people put other things in the middle. We can focus on those differences and say, that guy is different from me, I don't like him. That guy does it a different way, I don't like him. And that's going to split Arya Samaj apart. But if we look at the fact that all of us are doing Agnihotra for the same reason, to purify the environment, to pray to God, then we see we are all united. We're all doing that same essential thing. And that is what can bring us together as Arya Samaj. That is what can bring all of us together. And with that message of unity, I think I'll end. So focus on the similarities, not the differences.
Next, I call upon Devika to sing a melodious bhajan for all of us. Devika.
कभी राम बन के कभी शाम बन के कैसे आएंगे प्रभु जी कैसे आएंगे कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के कैसे आएंगे प्रभु जी कैसे आएंगे वो तो निराकार भगवान है वो तो निराकार भगवान है सर्वव्यापक है सर्वशक्तिमान है सर्वव्यापक है सर्वशक्तिमान है साकार बन के लाचार बन के कैसे आएंगे प्रभु जी कैसे आएंगे कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के कैसे आएंगे प्रभु जी कैसे आएंगे सुख दुख से गिरे श्री राम थे सुख दुख से गिरे श्री राम थे मधुर छोड़ के गए घन श्याम थे मधुर छोड़ के गए घन श्याम थे सृष्टि करता हो के दुख भरता होने कैसे आएंगे प्रभु जी कैसे आएंगे कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के कैसे आएंगे प्रभु जी कैसे आएंगे अजर अमर है अजन में अजर अमर है अजन में कभी आते नहीं है गर्भ में कभी आते नहीं है गर्भ में सर्वज्ञ हो के अल्पज्ञ बन के कैसे आएंगे प्रभु जी कैसे आएंगे कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के कैसे आएंगे प्रभु जी कैसे आएंगे सच्चिदानंद स्वरूप सर्वेश्वर सच्चिदानंद स्वरूप सर्वेश्वर ओम स्वरूप अनंत परमेश्वर ओम स्वरूप अनंत परमेश्वर निर्विकार हो के निराधार हो के कैसे आएंगे प्रभु जी कैसे आएंगे कभी राम बन के कभी श्याम बन के कैसे आएंगे प्रभु जी कैसे आएंगे. Thank you.
Next, we are going. Next, we are going to do the meditation led by the Arya Youth Vishkrit. We will turn off the videos. You will be just getting the audio, and let us do this meditation for 10 minutes. And after that, we're going to have two words of encouragement from two distinguished people. So let's do this 10 minutes home meditation that is practiced at Vedic Temple every Sunday.
Namaste, everyone. Sit straight. Close your eyes. Relax your face, your neck, and your shoulders. Relax. We will recite Om 3 times. Let us inhale. Be relaxed. Now, sensing your breath, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Remember, you are a pure, eternal soul. Drop all the mental negativities, fear, anger, grudges, habit of comparing yourself, jealousy. Drop it. Once again, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, inhale deeply, exhale forcefully, and hold your breath outside to your own comfort. Inhale. Release
and come to normal breathing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Sense your breath inside your nostril. Focus inside your nostril. Omnipresent God is the giver of this breath. Accept this. Accept God's holy presence within you. Maintaining that awareness of God's presence, start chanting Om inside devotionally at your own pace. Maintain awareness of His presence. Now, let us pray for the welfare of all. May all be healthy. May all be happy. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. May all living beings be happy. We are all children of one divine mother, God. We all belong to one family. Recognize and feel this oneness, feel this unity with all living beings. Now, let us Feel grateful for this opportunity to meditate. Feel grateful for this opportunity to sit together and try to become closer to God. Feel grateful. Let us prepare ourselves to come out of this meditation practice. Rub your palms together. Place your palms over your eyes. Within your palms, gently open your eyes and remove your palms. Now, we will recite Om once, followed by Shanti 3 times. Inhale. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Havishprit. Now we will have Dr. Rajinder Gandhi ji, the past president of APSA and founder of many Arya Samaj based in New Jersey, as well as Dr. Chandora ji, the founder of Atlanta Vedic Temple, speak a few words of encouragement.
Namaste to everybody. I'm so glad that I'm invited to say a few words. And I'd like to recognize Chandora ji for his leadership. I've known him for more than 20 years. And I visited your temple maybe about 25 years ago. And today's presentation was amazing, all led by children and young adults. Especially the most impressive thing was how the yajna was conducted, meditation, and also people, very young children speaking about, important topics. And most impressive thing was how you were able to keep young adults involved when especially they are in college with all the pressures they are facing. So I think it's a great thing that we have dedicated children and young adults who are participating. We feel that your Arya Samaj is in good hands. And these will come handy all your life. So right now, I'm close to retirement, have been a professor at Columbia University in the past. Now I have free classes of teaching meditation to hospital staff, even some police departments, and many others who want to learn meditation. So I think you are in a very good start to have a very successful long mission, fulfilling the dream of Swami Dayanand Saraswati. Again, I'm very grateful for Vishruji to invite me. And Vishruji is a very, important person in the success of the Arya Prithvi Sabha, which is the organization of all the Arya Samajas of North America. I wish him well, and thanks everybody. And I'm very much impressed with all the ceremony which was performed and participation of all the children. Again, thank you and namaste.
Thank you. Now we will have Dr. Chandora ji also speak.